What's
What
going
is
on?
going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 61 of the Everything NYJ podcast. Liam, Gino, Italy, Jet Pagano, and we have a very special guest, New York Jets ground crew, Aaron. How you doing, my friend?
I'm well, gentlemen. How are you? Thanks for having me.
No problem. How
Doing
now
great.
you are relatively new, correct?
Yeah, man. I'm episode 10, man. I'm only
There
10
you
down.
go. There you go. Hey, you gotta start somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm following your footsteps, right? I'm watching you guys do it well. I'm learning a lot here.
I,
appreciate that.
pro- I,
Yeah,
I
man, we're trying our best, man. It's
yeah.
not easy. I was telling Gino, I tell everybody, like, it's not just like hitting record and going. It's like there's so much involved, as you know, man. It's not easy. It's really not. But
No,
so why don't you Well, before we get into all that, I just wanted to mention you could follow us on all social media platforms at Everything NYJ. Gino's gonna get up there for in a second. There it is. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube at Everything NYJ. If you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. If you're new here, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. That really helps us grow and bring wonderful guests like Aaron on. With that being said, Aaron, why don't you talk about your show a little bit? How'd you get started up and give us the background on that?
yeah, great question. I was just thinking about it for a couple of years, and I absolutely wanted to do something. And at some point, I just wanted to get my feet wet, get into it. I was going to do it myself. I was going to start putting guests on the show week by week and all of this. But like you, and I kind of saw, especially you two doing it, I mean, you need a partner, right? And I was lucky to find somebody.
Yeah.
Jets. It's a big difference, certainly. I mean, having the guests on obviously is great and growing it that way. But I just wanted to talk Jets. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, there's a lot of guys who just scream at the screen. There's a lot of guys out there who just get on instant analysis, and I wanted to be more of like cogent voice of reason, which is why we do it on Tuesdays and Fridays, right? A little bit more time to digest the game that was played on Sunday, because obviously the Jets are not so much on Monday night yet. We will be in the next couple of years, as we know. And then Friday. And it's like a lot of people do the content on Thursday. I'm like, no, let's do it Friday. It's fine. It's a short porch on Friday afternoons and Saturday until the games, but that's where I'm rocking. I'm living in a different space.
It's awesome, man.
So you do it on Tuesdays and Fridays, and how did you come up with the name New York Jets Ground Crew?
Yeah, I was just looking around. I mean, you see so many different podcasts, so many different people, so many different names, and I just felt like it was something I could brand, And it's like it's like a support system on the ground, right? I mean, I thought that was cool, and it was just something that I could brand. I mean, I call the show Tarmac Tuesdays, Flight Plan Fridays. At some point, maybe I'll be getting everybody some vests and those little lightsabers.
There you go. You're gonna have to. I'll wear them.
I appreciate it. Send them out.
Yeah, of course.
The address.
You gotta get like the green like vest and like the green like lifesavers and all that. That'd be really
Of course.
cool. Gotta
Of
be green and
course.
white.
None of that orange red stuff.
I love that.
Or that
I
blue
love
stuff.
Yeah, none
Yeah.
of the blue. Don't even want
So
All right, so go ahead,
go
Gino.
on. Go ahead.
I want to talk Jets a little bit here because like this week has just been
No
driving
kidding.
me nuts.
No kidding,
This
Liam. We're not here. We're here to talk about the Bills. We're talking about the Bills.
we could do that. We could do that.
I'm kidding.
All right, so yeah, so like what are your thoughts as like the New York Jets right now? Like in your opinion, what is the state of the New York Jets?
Oh, I think we're in a phenomenal place. Really, way better than we've been in a very long time. I'm high on Salah. I mean, as high as everybody is on KD, on Douglas, and I'm high on him too. But I'm more than impressed with Salah on two different things this year. And he's got us above 500 for the first time. And I put a lot of credit in him. And he's made some mistakes. I mean, like everybody does. But he's so good at turning the mistakes into positives. And I think that's his superpower anyway, right? Is to take something that looks like a negative and turn it into a positive, which is why the team and the organization is heading in the right direction. But there's two things that he does better than anything else. He quells the drama because the Jets have been all about drama, and anything that pops up, he just roots out the weed, and I give him a lot of credit. And he's a really good situational football coach. First year, last year, kind of questionable on some of the stuff that he did. But you look at pretty much every game this year, he's made the right decisions. The clock management's been there. And that's something that was missed. I mean, forget Gase. We can't even talk about him. But Bowles before him, and even Rex in those last few years, it just wasn't right. And that's a big difference. And that's a huge, huge boon to the team. So I'm impressed, and I'm happy where we're at.
I will say this about Adam Gase. Because of Adam Gase, we did get Joe Douglas. It's the only thing. It's the only thing.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you otherwise, for sure.
We got Adam Gase, we got Joe Douglas, and I got ulcers because of it. So there's always that.
Worth it, by the way. I mean, if you're a Jets fan, you're born with an ulcer, so it's like,
Yeah.
It's like a patch. It's like a badge of honor.
Yeah, exactly. It's like in my crib, I think I was milking magnesia in a rattle. So
Jesus. That's great.
This guy, I love it. I love it. You're a firecracker. I love that. So, what do you think about the quarterback situation with the Jets? I know it's been a lot of things going on with Wyatt. I know Zach Wilson's going to be the backup this Sunday against the Lions. We're at home. What do you think about the situation right now?
All right, so right call at the right time again, and I give Salah a lot of credit for this, for bringing back and putting him into the second slot. And that's exactly where he should be at this point. And honestly, it could have been Streveler, and I would have been fine with it too. I mean, I'm not interested in seeing Zach back on the field. And we could talk a million reasons why he shouldn't be there at least this year. I mean, unless we're totally out of it and you want to play him the last game or the last 2 games of the season. But White is the right guy at the right time. He has over 3 weeks proven that he is absolutely capable of being a starting quarterback. I love that he's a 5th-year quarterback, because personally, I don't think any of these guys, and even the generational talents, even going back to Luck or Peyton Manning, they shouldn't see the field in the first year, but that's not the way the world works, and they all do. Zach definitely shouldn't have been on the field, probably for 2 years, and that stunted him. But,
Agreed.
did what he did in the Buffalo game was where it was at. You had to get him to the Buffalo game, and he had to show you that he was capable of putting last year aside, the 4-interception game, and to show you that he was capable of the starting. And once he did, sure, bring Zach back. It's fine. He could be in second position. He's not threatening Mike White's job right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially I feel like, because I grew up in the 2000s, so it's like Aaron Rodgers is the perfect example. I feel like when I was a little kid, growing up, a lot of times players would sit for a couple years. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years. Sitting is not the worst thing in the world. And it seems like there's this big divide on Twitter and everywhere else in this crazy Jets land, where it's either Zach Wilson versus Mike White, and there's no medium, there's no in between. It's either Zach Wilson is hot garbage and he needs to go, and we have our franchise quarterback in Mike White, or Mike White, you suck ass and you need to go because this is Zach's team. There's no happy medium. It's sitting is not the worst thing in the world. The early 2000s, quarterbacks sat for years. Patrick Mahomes sat for a year. It's not the worst thing in the world. The game is just too fast for him right now, which is fine. With that being said, it's I still think he could figure it out. I think he could turn this around. But at the same time, it's you got to consider Mike White possibly starting next year at the same time. So do you think that there's a bit of a quarterback controversy within this, or do you think this is just kind of a one-hit wonder with Mike White?
I don't think there's controversy at all, and I don't even think we're hitting one-hit wonder. Again, 5th-year quarterback who is playing not above his weight, he's playing at his weight. Mike White is a starting quarterback in this league. He's proved it over these 3 games. He's where he needs to be. Wilson, unfortunately, history is not on his side. And what I mean by that is he's been given 20 games, and there are plenty of things that Zach Wilson does well. And I'm a fan. He puts on the jersey like everybody else. You want to see him do well. You want to see him be your guy. But the reality is, for all of his qualities, for all of his intangibles, he has 2 things going against him. And I just don't think he'll ever figure that out. And number one, he can't handle pressure, especially in man coverage. He looks terrible out there. And you can't be the 33rd, 34th ranked guy, especially going into your second year, and have that level of not handling pressure and be sub 60% on your completion percentage. And number 2 is he can't throw the ball short. He can't throw a short ball. That's never going to fly in this NFL. I mean, you watch Mike White lead his tailbacks out there, or you watch him hit, on the hot read, our tight ends or our crossers. Zach is unfortunately incapable of doing that. He's proven it time and time again, and I wish the kid well, but unless he has a miraculous turnaround, unless he is the anomaly of the league, history is not on his side.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Liam. I was
just gonna say quickly, last year we saw him doing that though, so it's we know that he can make the plays. He has the arm talent. You know what I think it is? It's going into this year, he was so afraid to throw the interceptions that he's just that's occupying his mind to the point where he can't function now. I cannot throw a pick. I cannot throw a pick. I cannot throw a pick. Well, I can't even throw a 5-yard screen pass to Braxton Berrios now. So I think that's the biggest part of his issues is that his mind is so occupied with not throwing interceptions because there's so much pressure not to throw an interception that his mind is just all screwed up. That's personally what I think it is, because you could tell the Patriots game, his last game, every time they would show him close up, he looked completely lost. They were calling timeouts because he had a blank face on. He didn't know what he was doing out there, and he looked much better last year in his rookie year. He was improving each and every week, just about, especially after his injury. But he came back. You think about the Jags game, the Bucks game, the Saints game. He looked good in those games. I think it's just like this interception problem that like he doesn't want to throw these interceptions. Fine, but at the same time, it's like you can't focus on so much of the negative that you can't even produce the positive. It's never going to work for you. But I'm sorry to cut you off, Gino.
No, you're fine. Thanks for all the comments, guys. You know, GVH and Abby and Matthew, welcome to the chat. Vinny, I know Vinny was on your show, correct?
Yes, Vinny was.
Vinny was everywhere. Vinny was a celebrity.
Good man.
But I think New York is desperate to find that quarterback. I just think we've been desperate for years to find a franchise quarterback that I think we pressured the Zach Wilson situation immediately. Like Manning's didn't start till their third year. You got Breeze who didn't start till his second in the second year. I think we should have sat him down first, then maybe start that Mike White or whoever we had at the time. I forgot. But I think I agree. I think Mike White, this is his job right now. I don't want to talk about next year because next year's next year. We got to focus on getting the playoffs this year, and whoever it is, where this team's ready to roll. This team's ready to roll at guns blazing. As long as we can keep the injuries intact, which I understand every team deals with that. Another 6-0 lineman goes out. It's like, damn. So it's one of those things where I think the Jets have been struggling to find that quarterback for so long, and we're just desperate to like, oh, we got our guy. Hey, we got some Zach Wilson fans. We got some Mike Strebler fans. We got some Flacco fans, small amount of Flacco fans. But then the big amount is Mike White. So whoever's on the field, let's just hope they produce and just get us a damn playoff win.
I think Flacco fans are probably down to his immediate family at this point. But, you know, Liam, I want to address something you said about
even his kid said he sucks. His
even
kid said
right, which he laughed off, and he should. Look, he's had a great career. You know, I mean, absolutely all the power to Joe Flacco. I mean, he had an incredible run. He's won the Super Bowl, Super Bowl MVP. How many people ever even get to sniff that? So, you know, hey, and he did a great job as the bridge guy, and he was great in the quarterback's room. It's obviously his time. His time is up, and that's okay, and he needs to know that. I mean, he's heading to 38 years old, and obviously he can't move. You know, Mike White doesn't move much better than him, but he does move certainly better than him when he needs to. But going back to what you said about Zach last year, you know, absolutely. I mean, especially in the Tampa Bay game, he was great in that game. Not just good, he was great in that game. And there was something that was missed, you know, for all the flack that he took, because everybody was looking at his numbers, the touchdown interception ratio. But when he came back from the injury, no interceptions. I mean, forget for a rookie quarterback. That's hard for anybody to do over 5 games, right? Any quarterback to do. And he did an incredible job with it. And he started to move forward and started running, you know, and more than anything else, and a lot of people forget this, he rushed for touchdowns. I think it was 4, maybe 5 at the end of the year. And there's not a lot of guys who do that who aren't known as running quarterbacks, who aren't known as Lamar Jackson, right? So he really did the right things, and you expect him to come in and have this good year and do these things. But as time has progressed this year, you're just seeing his deficiencies, and his deficiencies, unfortunately, are not NFL caliber, at least at this point. And I don't know if he's the anomaly. I don't know if he could do it, but you have to hit your short throws. I mean, you go back to the first Buffalo game. Pay attention. He was throwing sidearm, and why was he doing that? You know, even on the short throws, because he can't throw overhand on the short throws. He's not hitting the way he needs to. So all of a sudden, he's changing his mechanics to do that, and that's not right. That's never going to get it done. And again, if you can't handle pressure, you can't sit in the pocket, step up in this league. You know, even if you're a 6'1", 6'2" guy, because you mentioned Breeze, and he was not a tall guy, and he can do it. Russell Wilson, not a tall guy, he could do it. Yeah, you're never going to succeed in this league, and I don't know if Zach can make that leap.
And also they produced them, though. They gave him time. So it's one of those things where now you're going to rush a young quarterback going in his second year. It just needs time, because we've seen the talent that he's done at the last 6 games last year. He just needs a reset. I think, like I said, Mike White is the guy right now. Now, I want to go to defense real quick with you, Aaron. What do you think about our defense so far, and do you think Quinnen Williams is going to be out on Sunday?
Quinnen Williams more than likely going to be out on Sunday, and it's the worst possible time to lose Quinnen, right? Because this is the one. This is the team more than any other, the offensive juggernaut, where you're really going to need him, obviously, and we can make up for it, and we'll be fine. How are we in the defense? I think we're incredible. I mean, solid. Amen. It only took him 2 years. The guy runs basically 2 major schemes in the wide 9 and the cover 3, and you know he is doing an unbelievable job. Ulrich too of getting our guys in place. Our safeties are okay. Joyner and Whitehead through most of the middle of the season kind of been playing above their weight, talking about it. So credit to them.
They're a
But
liability.
yeah, but our cornerbacks are phenomenal, and Salah was right in the beginning of the year. I mean, when we had that first 53-man roster, when you looked it up and down, we were all like 10 edge rushers and defensive linemen. Where's the extra safety? But he was right. Bring them in. Keep and we were able to get rid of Jonathan Martin in the beginning, in the middle of the year. But Huff, I mean, really phenomenal. I mean, Johnson, when you need him to be, right? These guys are on the lower level are producing. Even Lawson, his numbers are good. I think he's taking a little flack. I was talking about it on my show the other day, taking a little bit of flack all of a sudden that he's not living up to his contract. And I disagree. I think he's doing an excellent job. Everybody is. The defense is where it needs to be, and Mosley especially back to close to all-pro form. I mean, not notwithstanding that he had his best game, but he has been lights out this year.
Yeah, I feel like he's been getting a lot of like unnecessary flack. CJ Mosley, like obviously he had like that big encroachment penalty that honestly made me laugh. Like I'm just sitting there, I'm like, what the hell was that? Like he was laughing too. Like he knows it was just like a bonehead mistake. It happens. Like they're human beings. Like they're professional athletes. Like they should know better. Yes, but like they're still human beings. Like they're gonna make the mistakes. It's okay. Not once have I ever come onto our show, anybody else's show. I've never heard anybody say a New York Jet had to be perfect ever. So it's like we're having this like weird standard where it's like anytime like somebody makes a mistake, it's like cut him, get rid of this guy. Like we're seeing Braxton Berrios is being ran through the mud right now.
Oh, I know.
It's insane.
Yeah,
like Braxton Berrios has been solid.
X Factor had as a hit piece on him, right? That came out yesterday. That Berrios. I mean, if you look at his numbers and you look at where he fits in this offense, where he's in close to 30% of the plays, they think he should be down to about 3%. So it's probably somewhere in between.
Sure. Yeah, that's a pretty large gap, somewhere in there. Throw them in there somewhere.
I will say this. The New York Jets have one of the best depth in the National Football League, but like backup-wise. I don't see any other team that's got good backups in my mind, other than maybe the Chiefs, in my opinion. Maybe a little bit of the Bills, kind of. But like just like Salah said, even before the season, we're going to cut football players. We're going to cut good football players. I mean, you've seen, Pinnock and Cage go to the Giants. You've seen other teams go. I mean, just now, Jonathan Marshall's with the Steelers now. I mean, bummer, but I mean, it's these players. Thank God Knight didn't get picked up by someone.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap. Yeah. Sign of relief there. But it's a good situation to have. And and I'm glad he made the James Robinson move. I know he's not playing now, but you just never know with injuries and suspension. So I like the steps we're taking. We definitely got to come up big with these next 4 games. But what do you think about these next 4 games? Like, who do you think?
I have a quick question, Gino. Maybe you know, because I don't know. Where was Ty Johnson on Sunday? Is he hurt or something? Is there something I don't know about Ty Johnson?
He just didn't figure into the game plan ultimately as the game went along. But no,
right? I think
he's healthy. He's healthy. He just did. I think he did play a little bit, but obviously he was not a big factor. I mean, we were really relying on Knight to be out there most of the time, and even we expected Michael Carter to kind of fill in. But what do I think of the next 4 games? I think 3 of the 4. Look, all 4 are very winnable for the Jets. I'm actually excited for this game. I am personally very excited for the Lions game. I think a lot of fans are fearing this game. We're fearing that we just lost 2 in a row and all of this, but I'm excited as hell. I mean, this is a pick'em game. I've seen it go either way on a couple of sites. I've seen, -1 for Detroit, -1 for the Jets. The Jets are clearly the better team. And you're going to find out a lot about us because obviously Detroit, who is on a very big hot streak, as we know, in the middle of the season, and all of a sudden they're coming on and everybody's getting on the Goff bandwagon and everybody's talking about their O-line and all of that.
Yeah.
You look at the 2 times that they played tough defenses, they haven't played particularly well. And we are a tough defense, if not a top 3 defense in the league. So real good chance that the Jets can go out there and absolutely dominate them. Too. Yeah, I mean, no question. And we should be able to go out there and put points on the board because I think we can rectify a lot of the mistakes that we've made in the last 2 weeks, especially that Minnesota game. 1 for 6 in the red zone is just ludicrous. That doesn't happen. It's not even excusable. That just doesn't happen. It was more fluky than anything.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I just think, I mean, they won the last 5 out of 6 games. And they even almost won against the Bills, but those teams were winnable games. I mean, you got the Packers, you got the Bears, so I totally get it. But I'm just always that type of guy. Liam always knows. He probably is annoyed by now. you just never know with any team, with any call, with any injury. So
course.
I'm always like the last 5 to 7 minutes are the most crucial time.
Well,
But
you know what's funny? It's
what's
like
funny?
I'll be like pissed at like during a game, and then like I have like his positive ass, like, hey, like it could be all fine, and I'm like, Gino, just shut up, like it's not fine right now. Like I freak out on him sometimes, you know.
It's fine.
Like, yeah,
See,
he
it's
knows.
fine.
You guys need each other. I mean, that's what
Yeah,
it's all
right.
about, right? I mean, keep
We
everybody
somehow
aligned.
balance each other out. Yeah.
But you look at the Lions game, and I'm already looking past it because truthfully, I think we're going to win this week. The question is the
A lot
Jacksonville
of people.
Jaguars.
I've heard
game,
that
right? The track game.
a lot, though. I've heard that a lot recently. Yeah.
What that?
Yeah, that people are looking past the Lions game. I've heard that a lot recently.
I don't think the Jets even know what a trap game is at this point right now. Like they're too young. They don't know what a trap game is.
That's a good thing. That's
Seriously,
I mean, it's working
yeah.
to their advantage.
Yeah.
The baby Jets are. I mean, hashtag baby Jets should be everywhere. I don't know why I don't see it more on Twitter because it's working to their advantage for sure. I mean, it's changed the culture of the organization. But you
Like
got to
Baby
think about
Shark.
what having to play again on Thursday night. These kids haven't seen that yet. They've had the
True.
rest every week, and here's a weird thing. I mean, we're always 1 o'clock on Sunday, right? Because we're not in primetime games. Nobody's
Right.
featuring us on a Sunday night. Nobody's flexing us out. Nobody's put us on the Monday night, certainly. So let's see how
Right.
these kids feel that first time they got to turn it around 3 days later and play Jacksonville. They better get up, and that's going to be on the coaching more than anything else. You know, this Detroit game is going to be fast. There's going to be a lot of points scored. There's going to be a lot going on out there. So, you know, and if we do win that game, all the excitement's coming back. They've got to go back and prove it against Jacksonville as well.
I'll be at that Jacksonville game, dude. I'm pumped for that game. So I'm getting out of work at like 3. I'll be on the train at like 4. Like I'm gonna be tailgating my ass off all night. I'm not even going to work the next day, so I'm partying. You know, give me a reason to be proud. You know, like that's gonna be a huge game, man. It's our only primetime game of the season. Like you said, I want to see how this team performs under the lights.
Yeah, it's a whole different look.
Yep.
Are you okay? So I know I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. He's from he lives in Long Island, New York. Where are you from, and where do you live?
So I grew up in Westchester County, right? I was around the White Plains area, but I've been out in Los Angeles since 2000. So you're talking about 22 years out here, you know, and it's interesting because there's a lot of Jets fans out here, right? Ton of transplants from the East Coast, of course. So, you know, I spent my 20s going to a lot of Jets bars running around town and doing all that and finding everybody. This is pre-internet days, you know. I think there were still rabbit ears on some of the TVs. But like, you know, being out here is great. It's a great way to watch a game, and it's amazing. It's part of the reason I wanted to do this podcast. You go back to asking me that question. You know, it's like it's a great way to just stay in touch with people back on the East Coast. My brother, I mean, you know, we're both huge fans, and we just get to talk about this, so it's a lot of fun doing that.
Matthew, hit me up, man. We'll definitely link up. I'm probably gonna be tailgating with Let's Talk Jets, honestly. Those are normally my tailgate guys. But yeah, hit me up on Twitter or something. We'll definitely link up, get a beer together, whatever.
Here, I got you covered, Liam. I already said it.
Well, there you go.
You're good. You're good. I got you.
Nice. Hit Liam up, Matthew Smith.
Yeah,
Liam.
Yeah, dude. Are you gonna go to the games at all? The next coming 4 games or no?
Am I coming in to go into any of the games? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I should fly up to the Seattle game, but you know, with 3 young kids, I barely get out of the house, let alone out of town, man.
Yeah, it's understandable. Do you have a favorite? Like, I'm sure you've been to a game before, though, right? Do you have like a favorite memory at a game?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You know, I went to Indiana University, and that was the 98-99 season. So I was there 96 to 2000.
Oh.
And you're talking when we took over, and Parcells obviously installed Testaverde, and I started going around to a lot because we played a lot of Midwest teams. I went to Chicago. I think it was -30 with the wind chill, but that wasn't my favorite game. My favorite game was against Tennessee when we played in Vanderbilt Stadium, and we went, and that's when we started the streak of actually marching our way towards the AFC Championship game, and it was amazing. Everybody there was so pissed off, obviously, because they were all Tennessee fans, except a few of us, the smattering of Jets fans in there, and all of us were screaming at Parcells, and we were chanting tuna for about 20 minutes, and finally he turned around and gave us a little love. I will never forget that game. I loved it.
Awesome, man. It's so cool that, like, everyone has like a favorite moment. Like Gino's been to one game and like it wasn't probably his favorite moment, but
what was that? Where'd you go? What was it?
Okay, so I went to the home opener, and the experience was fun. But I used to work for the Rams in St. Louis, and it felt like that. Like it literally just felt like that. So I went to the Predators and Blues game on Monday, and it was better. It was just better. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. In the chat, it was just way better. So now that the Jets are really good now, and if I went, I'd probably be like, oh, this is going to be dope again. But right now, I'm looking to go to an away game next year, though. So we'll see what happens. I like the away atmosphere, too. I like both. Nothing can beat home, but it could beat away, too. But I know Liam always hates going to away games because he doesn't like being heckled, which I totally get.
Yeah.
But
You know.
I get it. Yeah, have
There's,
you
there's
been
nothing
heckled
like
at all at a game?
I've been heckled in my home stadium, so
How
I
about
tell
you,
you,
Aaron?
when my now wife, she was my fiance at the time, we went up to Oakland, and I didn't know. Like, we actually went up to San Francisco for a weekend. Just happened to be the same weekend that the Jets were playing Oakland, and she didn't tell me, but she got tickets to the game, and she took me to Oakland. We went to that Coliseum. Nothing like it, man. I mean, I'm glad that cinder block doesn't exist anymore, but holy hell, going into that black hole was like nothing I've ever experienced putting on the Jet gear. Honestly, I wouldn't wear the Jet shirt. She was. I felt more comfortable with her doing it than me. It was a crazy place to be.
That's insane. Some of the stories that like away games are just insane. They really like. I heard like Philly games are like the worst. It's terrible, man. It's scary. Like you could get your ass beat.
Oh yeah,
You know?
and you. By the way, you look at a team like that. Now they're doing it right, right? I mean, they're a team that has really elevated themselves. They're a top 5 team for sure, maybe the top 3 in this league right now. You know, we can learn a lot from them. I hope the Jets benchmark a few of the things that we do, and partly we did. You know what we did? We got Joe Douglas from them, right? He's from their tree. Bring him over. Yep. He learned a hell of a lot, and I'm glad he's our guy. And he brought over some good Philadelphia guys, including Nate Herberg, who I am a fan of.
Yeah. Oh man,
good job.
Clutch.
Yeah.
Clutch.
Yeah.
So like, what do you? So I'm thinking about going to the Cowboys game next year away in Texas because I have a lot of connections over there.
Yeah.
For me, is there a bucket list of an away game that you want to go to versus the Jets that would just be really out of this world for you?
You know what? First of all, I want to pause for a second and talk about that because that stadium is supposed to be unbelievable. And everybody talks about how great a party it is and how good of a time it is. And Texas is a very welcoming state. I mean, even though obviously it's the NFL and everybody wants to kick your ass everywhere you go, that's probably the one place as any fan in the league, unless you're Giants or Philly, like especially if you're just, a Jets fan and you're not in their conference, definitely go to that game. That's an incredible, amazing place to be. But you know something? I want to go to Foxborough. I want to go when the Jets are good. I want to go into that building when the Jets are good with something on the line over the next couple of years. That would be an incredible experience. Absolutely, bring me into that dark planet, man. I think it would be awesome. I'd do it.
I was heckled by Patriot fans at home. Sam's rookie year, the November game, and they're just talking so much like trash to us and everything. I remember like we were all going down the escalator at MetLife, saying "Don't feel special, we lose every game," and it's like, oh man, we've come a long way. Yeah, that's what they're chanting. Don't feel special, we lose every game. Yep.
Oh my goodness! All right, so
we've come a long way, my friend. We've come a very long way.
Not the same old Jets, thank God. But also not the same old Lions either. But hold up, before we end it, because almost our 30 minutes are up. What is your score prediction for this Sunday?
Oh, I like that. I think we put up points this time around because their defense just can't contain our guys. I mean, we got the wide receivers. I would expect every weapon we've got in the backfield, including our tight ends. I think Conklin is finally is ready to come on and have a big game. I think Elijah Moore is ready to have a big game. I am going 31-21. Jets.
Nice.
31-21.
Okay.
Did the Jets make the playoffs this year? Did we find a way to get in?
I think so. I really do. By the way, I'm going to say this caveat: got to hit 10 games. I mean, it's 10 wins, no question about it. I don't think
facts.
There's no doubt win 3 of the next 4, and one of those wins has to be against Miami. If they win that game, it's a big win because it's AFC. Obviously, it's just we have to do that. You got what I mean. More than anything, like if you lost to the Giants and then ran the table, you might still be okay because Jacksonville. Obviously we've got to go to Seattle, but you got to win the 2 AFC games more than anything else. But
I think if we do lose the game, I have a feeling it's gonna be Seattle for some reason.
That's what I think too. Yeah, I really think the 3 out of the 4 games, I think it'll be tight, but I think we'll win those. But Seattle, just something in my stomach with Geno Smith. I don't know why.
I mean, the revenge game, and look, it's a hard place to go. I mean, you got to, and it's another thing. It's another test for these young kids having to try. Like it's a big deal when you're traveling the country like that in certain time frames. So we'll see.
21-15 Jets. That's
I love it. Ian, what are we thinking?
I'm thinking 31-17 Jets.
Man, everyone's going 30s. All right. Hey.
Mike White's been proving it.
Yeah.
I
mean, like
Yeah.
When we play a lesser team, he scores 30+ points.
Yeah.
And I'm not discounting the Lions by any point, but like on paper, we're the better team. We should beat them.
We were the better team
You know?
against Minnesota, and we might not have been the better team against Buffalo on paper, but we hung with them, and that meant a lot. And those kids are not going to forget it. There's no question.
Definitely.
Even after this, and they're certainly not going to forget Mike White and what he did and how he's leading this team. There's
Absolutely,
nothing
man.
like rallying around a guy like that. So I'm excited.
Absolutely, man.
Really am.
Agreed, man.
Aaron, it has been a pleasure having you on, my friend. It's been absolutely awesome.
Amen. Amen.
Before you go, where can everyone like find you on social media? And if you want to plug your podcast one more time, feel free.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, guys. I really do. NYJ Ground Crew, and of course, at NYJ Ground Crew, we are everywhere, right? YouTube, of course, Twitter, Insta, but we stream live on YouTube. We stream live on Facebook, and we actually stream live on LinkedIn, of all places, at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Just
Hey.
a little different route and all of that. But yeah,
I like that.
NYJ Ground Crew, and the audio, of course, is everywhere. You can find us on every major podcast platform.
Nice.
Awesome. Aaron, thank you for your time. Awesome. Before you guys go, I just wanted to mention you could follow us on social media once again at Everything NYJ, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you haven't done so already. Please like the video. If you enjoyed this interview, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. Before we head off, any last words? Anybody?
I just want to say, gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate this. Appreciate what you do. Appreciate having me on. And go Jets.
Yeah,
We'll see you after.
Yeah,
the
we'll
win.
have you back on for sure, man.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, appreciate you. Go Jets.
Go
Let's
Jets.
go.
Go Jets.
Come on.
All right, thank you guys, everybody, for watching. Have a good night. We'll talk Jets soon.
Bye, guys.